You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q, and via Skype we got our partner DC chiming in. How you doing tonight, DC?
Well, I'm all right, man. Trying to stay up after watching that boring game.
Yep,
put me to sleep.
We're talking about the Utah Jazz matchup. That's what we're going to be recapping tonight. It's the Pelicans.
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the Wizards. The Wizards matchup. The Utah Jazz is the one that's coming up next.
I'd rather talk about the Utah Jazz, bro. But anyway, well, let's give a round of applause to all of our regular fandom timing in today, all our Pelican family and supporters and donators. We'd like to say thank you, like we traditionally do on the Pelican post-game report. Before we begin any talk, we thank our extended family for all the donations and support, for sharing the show, liking the show, and other things like that there. We always thank them ahead of time before we get into it. Now, when we get into it, this is podcast of the Pelican post-game report. 159, that's 159 on the podcast. We'll be recapping the loss to the Washington Wizards, 116-97 Pelicans. Streak snapped at the hands of the Washington Wizards. I think we lost our
confidence. More important than that, man. We need to figure out how to get that back.
You get your confidence back once Anthony Davis returns, which he is slighted to come back in the
is that simple?
Very simple. It's just that simple.
Sound like a MVP consideration now.
I would consider so. That game was an albatross, and I mean that. And it basically showed the league what the Pelicans look like without Anthony Davis at the helm. You know, even if jrue-holiday and them would have probably stepped up a little bit better. 4 points is a bit extreme. He had his worst game in a long time, and Nikola-mirotic also had a pretty strong, pretty tough game as well. But before we get into any of that, let's run down. Rundown brought to you by the passionate folks at theposhlifestyle.com, www.theposhlifestyle.com. Not just a website, but a lifestyle. They are the sellers of water filters of all selections. They have music there as well. They have kitchen supplies, all kind of stuff, man. There's so many things to name. A number of things: organic supplements, organic personal products for you, for your woman, for your pets, organic shampoos for the dogs, organic toothpaste for you if you're tired of the chemicals, organic deodorant if you don't like the metals in there. All kind of great products, hundreds of dozens of products available at theposhlifestyle.com. Check them out. And of course, with the sports coma, in lower caps, the terms the sports coma in the checkout section. Upon checking out, you put in the coupon section, you get 10% off on your final purchase. Now let's get right on into it. The rest of the rundown, we're going to talk about, we're going to break this game down with stats, facts, and we also have some interviews from Gentry and Nikola-mirotic. We was looking for jrue-holiday, but he disappeared, much like his performance against this Wizards game. We're going to talk about...
he was on a holiday, man. He was off.
He was off, right? And you mean that in more than one way. Without AD, the Pels fall flat, and the Washington Wizards make the New Orleans Pelicans winning streak disappear. I like that little banner. That was something that G Balance threw together on the Pelicans' eye view. That was pretty swift like that. I like that. But that's really what happened. Without AD, the Pels fall flat on their faces. We're going to discuss that topic. Where was Holiday? We'll get into that. Nikola No Show. We're going to get into what happened with Nikola. The old Pels did show up, though, when Nikola and Holiday didn't show. The old Garbage Pelicans showed up, and boy, did they show up with that bad transition defense, multiple turnovers, poor slot selection. Those old dreaded Pels showed up in horrible form in front of a sellout crowd in the Smoothie Cake Center, so that's not good. Like I said, we'll also have interviews from Gentry and also Nikola-mirotic. And the questions of why isn't Emeka Okafor, who's playing pretty good, why isn't he playing more minutes? What is Elvin Gentry holding his minutes hovering around that between 15 and 19 minute mark? Why is he not giving him extended minutes? Me and DC will get into that. And we'll talk about where's the defense. Where was the defense in the loss to the Washington Wizards? Where was that defense indeed? We'll talk about that. And then in the second segment, we'll preview the Pels against the Jazz. We'll preview and prediction. We'll also throw some stats in there and break that game down as the Pelicans try to rebound from that hideous loss to the Washington Wizards by trying to pick up one with the Jazz. You remember, they can't lose too many games now before the couple of teams that's trailing them start to creep up on them from behind. So let's get right into it, DC. We talked about earlier about this game starting with the Pelicans falling down 116-97 in this game. Pretty. I mean, I don't really have nothing good to say about this game. I mean, the Pelicans were out of this game from the jump.
To say about it.
When they started off, they were pretty much out of this game from the jump, DC, to be honest with you. They were not a threat at any point of this game to the Washington Wizards. I mean, that's about as outside of statistics I'm going to hit you with. That's basically the best thing I can say about them. But from your point of view, elaborate. What could you tell us about them?
It's over. That's probably about the best thing about it. It's not going on anymore. And AD should be back. So that's another positive you could take away from it. And they did play good defense. I did like the fact that we played pretty outstanding defense with Emeka Okafor on the floor to begin the game. Sheik Diallo actually got in foul trouble. He was contributing on the defensive end as well. And with those two guys out of the lineup, it just looked like we couldn't stop the Wizards at all. Defensive rotations got crazy. So we played good defense in the first quarter. But after that, pretty much started to fall apart.
Well, you're looking at it, man, and I'll just be honest with the Wizards, one of those teams that got the Pelicans tickets. They played them only twice this season. They beat them the same amount of points the last time. They beat them 116-106 in the first matchup. They come back and beat them 116-97 in the second one. Although if they had Anthony Davis, I think it'd probably be a different result.
Or maybe a backup center, so we wouldn't have lost the rebound battle so bad. 10 offensive rebounds to the Wizards, and we only got 2. That's pretty dramatic. So they pretty much won the game on second chance.
Don't get that part, DC, man. You've been advocating for Dale Demps to reach into his bag of goodies and see if he can locate a backup center that can maybe play the 4, a guy that can play the 5, a guy that can be behind, that backs up Emeka Okafor, a real center and not a guy that's a 4 actually trying to play the 5 position. A guy with a little girth, a little size. There are plenty of guys out there, not no big name guys, but serviceable guys that you can find, like you find the DeAndre Liggins or even a Walter Lemon Jr. But let's look at some of these statistics behind the game. The Pelicans came into this matchup. Now, they didn't shoot too bad from the field goal. From the field, 46% is not that bad. Problem is the Washington Wizards shot 48%. The Pelicans shot 30% from downtown. The Wizards from about 35%. The Pelicans did turn the ball over 15 times, allowing 16 opposition points for the Wizards, and then of course the Wizards turned the ball over 12 times and only giving up 8 points. So that's kind of a 8-point shift in favor of the Washington Wizards in that situation. Now, the Pelicans basically lost all of the statistics that mean anything. They lost the rebound battle. They lost the assist battle. They lost the steal battle. They lost the points in the fast break points battle. They lost the points in the paint battle. Pretty much statistically speaking, they lost any meaningful statistics. So
they won the turnover points battle.
Any meaningful statistics in a positive light, should I add? But
points off the turnover.
Points off, but not in their favor. Let's listen.
We won one. Won one battle. We lost the whole water.
Well, try telling that to Elvin Gentry. See what he tells you back. And speaking of Grandpa Gentry, let's see what he has to say as the Pelicans go down in blazes. Here's El Gentry.
I thought it hurt the flow of what we were trying to do. We struggled so much offensively the first 2 quarters. We've been starting the games really great. We had 19 points the first quarter, 19 points the second quarter. I didn't think that we ever got into any kind of flow offensively. Part of that is because they're pretty good defensively in what they do, and the other part was that we didn't have movement and we had no flow to what we were doing. The cutting wasn't there, the ball movement wasn't there. and we got ourselves in trouble early on doing that.
Coach, would a three-point make have helped at any point along the way there?
Yeah, we didn't shoot it well because with they're really good at running you off the three-point line, first of all, and then secondly, in order to do that, you got to have dribble penetration. You got to have driving kick situations, and we just never really got into that. We didn't really get into any kind of flow, as I said, and that's who we are. We're a flow team that play in transition and play with an open floor and spacing, and we just never really got into that. The rebounding part we struggled with some tonight, obviously, and then just the overall ball movement, screening, cutting, and all of that. I thought defensively we were actually pretty good, except for we just gave up way too many easy baskets in transition, and we got to get better in that department right there because over the last month and a half, 2 months, we've been third in the league in half-court defense, but we've been 30th in transition, and that shouldn't be happening that way.
Jrue-Holiday's been so good, Coach. Was it somewhat jarring to see him have a rough night?
He just struggled. They did a good job of walling in and not letting him have the usual drives that he had, and as I said, we didn't get into that flow where he can catch the ball and do some things with it, and we just got to find a way to do it. Well, I thought they did. I mean, they played hard and did as well.
That's Coach Gentry, man, talking about pretty much, and that was some really good insight, to be honest with you, with him laying it out about what happened. The team is their flow team to get a lot of points in transition, make things happen. That was real good commentary. The question about Jrue-Holiday, as you heard, that Jrue-Holiday, of course, struggled in this game. He was terrible. I mean, in 28 minutes, Jrue-Holiday was 2 of 8 for 4 points. 4 points. He had 3 blocks, however, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. Totally game. He turned into I can't even say Walter Lemon Jr. He basically turned into Tim Frazier tonight. That's basically what he turned into. But a very tough game for Jrue-Holiday, and Jrue-Holiday has been outstanding throughout the season. But but this is the thing that really was concerning to me about it. This was, and I'm talking to you, Drew. This was your opportunity tonight to show people that you have the ability to carry this team to a win against a quality opponent, despite the fact that you're missing 2 of the 3 biggest players on your team. He could have took this team on his back and carried them to a very good win against the Washington Wizards. Didn't happen. He just showed up with 4 points, and he was outscored by a majority of his teammates, and most of them was off the bench. And 28 minutes is good enough for Jrue-Holiday to at least get you 12 to 14 points. Be real with me. Talk to me about that, DC.
Jrue-Holiday, I was already. Jrue-Holiday is basically turned into a D-League player in that
I wouldn't
game.
even say that.
It was, huh?
I wouldn't even say he was a D-League. Well, yeah, I would give him that, I guess.
That's pretty much how D-Leaguers look when, he
man,
he had to adjust to the game again without Andy Davis. I guess the fact of being double-teamed and not having that safety valve that's a big deal. It's a big adjustment for those guys to play without AD, but there's no excuse for only putting up 8 shots, and you're basically the best player on the team.
That's left.
If you don't have a good game,
they don't win.
We can't win. I would have respected it if, let's say, he scored 4 points, but he put up 16 shots or 15 shots, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it just wasn't his night,
Right.
But just the lack of assertiveness and effort, try and be that dude. Like, you got to carry him. Come on, man. You can't just keep passing the ball looking for you. You're going to have to force stuff a little bit in certain spots because you just don't have your big guy tonight. There is no superstar. You're the superstar. So he tried to play team ball and maybe got a little too vanilla and lax without trying to create opportunities. And it came back to bite him in a horrible game.
Yes, it did.
He pretty much got benched the whole fourth quarter because there was no point for the starters to play. Really,
most of the New Orleans Pelicans were looking confused.
25-point lead.
They were looking confused because they was trying to look like they wanted to go to somebody. Then when he didn't want to become assertive to take the team, Nikola-mirotic then became that guy. And Nikola really thought he had 3 of 11, 9 points and 12 rebounds in 27 minutes. And I can't get on Nikola because
yeah,
you
13 rebounds, man.
Right,
he was giving effort.
Right, he was giving effort. But jrue-holiday, there's no excuse for that type of performance on 28 minutes and only 8 shots, attempts, 2 of 8, 4 points, 28 minutes. No sir, no way.
He thought he could win the game by just playing good defense, which he was doing. But I mean, come on, man, your guy isn't the star of the team. He's on Bradley Beal. He did an all right job on him.
Hold that commentary. We're going to come back, about to hit this break. When we come back, we're going to finish discussing this matter on him, and we're going to cover some other topics as well. You're listening to the Pelican Post Game Report on the PRO Media Network. Stay with us.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is The Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out The Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, theposhlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace sprays, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
That's right, for all things Pelicans, you're now listening to The Standard. And that's the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. We're covering this game. That's what we want to call it. That Wizards made the Pelicans winning streak disappear. 116-97 without Anthony Davis. Of course, Davis was not present in this game, and quite obviously wasn't. We, of course, before the break, I'm going to let DC finish his commentary on what he was talking about with Nikola-mirotic and jrue-holiday, but me and him was having this discussion about Jrue disappearing and Nikola trying to carry the team. But E'Twaun Moore is another guy that just has been struggling all over the place. I was hoping that he would step it up. Rajon Rondo did have 11 points and 4 assists in this game, but drew 20 minutes and they iced both his knees. I don't know if that was an issue or not, but it just didn't look good in this game for New Orleans. New Orleans looked pretty bad. Now, before I'm gonna let DC comment, and then we're gonna play Nikola-mirotic's thoughts on the game. Then we're gonna go into our topics. DC, go ahead and finish your thought, brother.
But yeah, I was just saying Jrue-holiday dropped the ball, man, on being assertive and taking over the team.
Absolutely.
And he put a lot of that on Rondo and Mirotic. Rondo actually looked good in his assertiveness to actually try and make things happen. And from what I could tell, his knees, they've always been icing his knees, so I don't think that's a big deal. But he played extra minutes most definitely than early on, but still total to less than what he normally plays a game, so I think he'll be fine. And Nikola-mirotic did basically the best he could do, man, with
with the situation. He had an off night shooting, so he went out there and grabbed 13 rebounds. I felt like we were a better team with him on the floor, even though I seen him get beat from time to time on certain defensive matchups. But AD was definitely in control of the defensive rotations, I believe, because they looked like the defense just collapsed on rotating and getting to the shooters. So it just shows you the major impact on all facets of the game that Anthony Davis had on the team, man. He's doing a lot more than just scoring points.
Absolutely. And we'll play Nikola. We'll come back and hit you with some more pointage on what actually happening from the point standpoint, contribution from the Pelicans as well as the Wizards. Is nikola-mirotic.
I think we had a good start of the game, especially that first quarter, even we were 3 points down. And I think, especially after that first quarter, they played with more physicality than us. They made some tough shots, and we never felt very confident today. I don't know what was the reason. We obviously missed AD, but we had enough to beat this team. But we'll be fine. It was not one of those games you feel comfortable playing out there. We were shooting terrible for 3-point line tonight too, so we'll be fine. We just need to keep working hard and then get the next one.
How are you going to deal with it when you guys have been playing so well over this last stretch and have it end this way? How do you deal with that kind of mental?
We're fine. First of all, because we knew we didn't play with AD, which was our best player. So hopefully he will be back next one. But we just need to stick together. We know that what we've been doing so far, we've been doing great, playing together. And defensively, I think we need to step up a little bit more, especially the defensive transition. They made a lot of points. And the rest, offensively, just playing our basketball, sharing the ball, and find wide open guy. I think today we did find wide open guys too many times, but we just didn't make a shot. So it's gonna be like that. But even like that, we need to try to find a way to beat the teams. So, but today was not one of those days, and we need to keep moving forward.
Can this be a little bit of maybe kind of a wake-up call or a reset to say, hey, refocus a little bit, even though AD wasn't there, moving forward, you know?
Could be. I think especially when you win, I think your confidence is like high, but when you lose, it's kind of a little like wake up. We need to keep doing what we were doing before. We need to keep working hard because
that's Nikola-mirotic saying that we had enough to win this game tonight, and obviously he believes that. Maybe if he and jrue-holiday would put up a little bit more, it probably would have made it a lot more competitive. The bench did what the bench could do, even though they were extended out. We looking at some of the points off the bench. Darius Miller finishes as the top dog in the game. He did the game-leading scorer. He had 20 points in 33 minutes of the game, followed by the next highest guy was Sheik Diallo, who had 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks in the game in 22 minutes. Not bad for the Sheik. And then, of course, it's Rajon Rondo's 11 and 4, and then the 10 points by DeAndre Liggins, who looked terrific to me. 22 points. He was 4-5 from shooting, 2 of 2 from downtown. We need to see more of that young man.
He had 10 points, man, at 22 minutes. But he definitely looked outstanding, and I think he earned himself some more minutes, in my opinion. If he don't get some next game, something wrong without Gentry thinking. Yes, absolutely. And then we're looking at the Washington Wizards side of things. The top scorer on their side was Otis Porter Jr. Was Otto Porter Jr. I'm sorry. 19 points in the game, 7 rebounds. He finishes the top dog with their team. Second behind him was Markieff Morris with his 17-point production. So the Wizards were able to get the win, 116-97, snapping the Pelicans' 10-game winning streak right there. And then, of course, the Pelicans 38-27. We need to find a way to win more home games, DC. But let's talk about the Pelicans without Anthony Davis falling flat. We mentioned most of that in the show breakdown, so I don't feel we need to go over that. It'd be a little bit redundant. We did talk about was jrue-holiday. We discussed that ad nauseum. We talked about Nikola-mirotic to a degree as well. We covered that. And then let's get into the old Pels showed up. Of course, the old Pelicans decided to show up where the Washington Wizards were good tonight, but they weren't that great where you could say, oh, they just whipped them. The
New Orleans Pelicans actually handed the paddle over to Washington and say, listen, we're going to let, the Wizards were stonewalling them on the offensive end, stopping them from scoring, while the Pelicans were allowing the Wizards to go to the other end and score easily. That's a messed up soup that won't win for you at any day. What's your thoughts on that?
I think you're definitely right, man. You can't win a game like that. And if you want to win a game without Anthony Davis, you pretty much have to limit every possibility of mental mistakes that will exist. And I think we went out and did the opposite of that. We came out with no energy, mental. Came out.
We had no rhythm either now.
We weren't. We had no rhythm. We weren't in the right places when we were supposed to be. All mental, just to give yourself a fighting chance. Like you said, we missed shots, and then your confidence is low, so you don't get back on defense. Mental. It's just complete mental collapse and losing this game. And it's a very unconfident team. Even Darius Miller, who was the leading scorer, looked very unsure of himself. So
didn't knock down a three until late in the third quarter now. They didn't hit that first 3-pointer until late in the third.
About his 20 points, man. I mean, it was basically trash points. So it's not a lot you can really take away from this game.
Bad transition, DC. Bad transition defense.
And throw it away, man. Ball it up, throw it away to tape.
Bad transition defense. Okay, poor shot selection. Okay. And another thing was what's another thing? The third thing.
We had like 5 turnovers from
There you go. That's the turnovers. 15 turnovers.
All back to back. That gave them the 25 point run.
Right.
That and the rebounding, man. Rebounding with a big old asterisk and a bunch of exclamation points. We lost the rebounding battle, and that was pretty much the foundation for the Wizards doing what they did. Second chance points and wide open threes. Like you say, transition points, and basically shutting us down on defensive end as well.
Well, let's talk about that rebounding edge, because I know you made mention that off break about the fact that this game was lost due to in large because of the Pelicans' inability to rebound. Now let's lay this out here, because the total rebounding, for people that ain't looking at the stat line, the Pelicans lost this rebound game to the Wizards. The Wizards had 59 rebounds versus the Pelicans 43 rebounds. Now, on the offensive end, the Wizards had 10 offensive rebounds. The Pelicans had only 2. So 59 to 43 on total rebound battle. That's 16 more rebounds than what the Pelicans actually put up. That is humongous, DC.
Yeah, that is, man. But a lot of it, I can't blame on the Pelican players. Put a little bit of blame on Dell Demps, because we've been talking about this, like you said earlier, for maybe about 6-7 shows on how we should get a backup center.
We need another backup center.
Basically, after DeMarcus Cousins got hurt, we've been saying that.
Yes.
They got to make Okafor. It was like, okay, well, Alexis Jenkins not bad.
Let's get another guy, right? Let's get another 10-day guy.
Or if AD goes down, we need another big guy. Sheik Diallo is already an undersized power forward, and nikola-mirotic is more of a stretch forward, and he could be a small forward, even though he has the height.
Wouldn't hurt. DC, it wouldn't hurt at all if we were able to get a backup center, brother, that could play the 4 and the 5 position. A guy that's girthy enough to guard a guy like Zach Thomas, perhaps. Zach Randolph. A guy that got some girth, some size to him. Wouldn't hurt. Maybe a guy on the 10-day contract. Perhaps the contract expires upon the arrival of Alexis Jenkins, who can come back when he, something like that, perhaps. Or what if Ajinka can't come back? Same thing like the mysteriously shrinking Solomon Hill, who continues to say, we're coming, but Solomon Hill is nowhere to be found, and he was supposed to have come back after All-Star break. But DC, let me ask you this about Emeka Okafor, because you made a valid point about the rebound situation, and it's a core part, and I agree with that, the fact that they lost that rebound battle, giving up 10 offensive rebounds. That's second chance points as well, and that can really put a dent in that spirit and push that lead for Washington ahead. What's going on here with Emeka Okafor? Emeka Okafor is probably, outside Andy Davis, is one of the teams and arguably one of their best rebounders. Now, of course, you look at Sheik Diallo, who has a gift at it, but Emeka Okafor, what I know you be tuning in a lot of this stuff, and you got a little insight on it. What's going on with them only playing Emeka Okafor around the 18 to 20 minute mark? What's the deal with that?
Well, that's his rotational mark. We know Emeka Okafor has coming off of a back injury where he had a what do we call that? A ruptured disc, or
so this is a medical thing.
Well, I don't think they want to overexert him because you don't want to hurt him. He's playing excellent, man. We need him, Emeka Okafor. Actually, he's the dirty guy.
You need
on the
more
team.
of them now that AD was down. I thought you might go over like 25 minutes or 28 minutes.
We definitely
should
have brought him over 25 minutes this game, or
Right.
maybe pushed him to 30 for this one game.
Exactly.
But in my opinion, I think coaching the players, just our whole organization, pretty much during that third quarter run, where the Wizards got all the way up to 25 points, we just gave up. We didn't decide. Emeka Okafor, the minutes he got most of them in the first half. We just pretty much gave up after that run in the third quarter and shut down all our starters. So it's just a situation where Al Gentry saw what was going on. He didn't see the need to fight with the tough schedule that we have coming up.
Right. I get you on that.
We threw the white flag, man. We threw the white flag, and
mercy.
I believe it looked like that.
Mercy.
Other than that, I think Emeka Okafor would have gotten to the high 20s.
Right.
As well as Rondo.
Well, that's a part of the defense, Chan. Of course, we got a topic here. We make a reference about the defense. And, of course, Emeka's a part of that defensive resurgence that the Pelicans have been exhibiting over the last 10 games, 10, 11 games since Emeka arrived here. Since he's been making block shots at the hoop, he's getting rebounds. He gets the tap-out offensive rebounds and those type of things that really allow Anthony Davis to feel more comfortable back in that fourth. But you look at this game and you say, well, where was the defense? Now, in parts, they had in parts you've seen some of it, but it's hard. But you can see that it's not just defense, that this team goes when their offense drive the defense. Like it's the exact adverse to what Monty Williams was doing. The defense would drive the offense. This current version of Pelicans, the offense drives the defense. When they get the running, they start feeling good and transition. When they float out on offensive transition, defensive transition, it all meshes together in a well-made souffle. Thoughts on that before we go on to the preview of the Utah game?
Yeah, I mean, it's such
like
a
that food analogy
right now.
You like that food analogy right there, brother? I said souffle and soup and.
I never ate souffle, so I really can't speak on it. But it did sound fly.
But you like it better than giblets, though, right?
I hate giblets. But anyway, like I was saying, the team is
brother.
such a rhythm-based team at this point, man. Any little thing, that's the thing about it. When they're hot and they're on. But any little thing or change just seems to be able to destroy that chemistry very quickly.
Right.
And the fire has been put out. So we got to get it back full blazing like how we did. And the only way we're going to do that is to continue to pass the ball like they've been doing, trust in each other, but at the same time have the confidence and assertiveness to take the shot when you have it. This game that we just saw, guys had shots, and it was like they were almost scared to shoot, looking for Anthony Davis for alley-oop, and the ghost of AD wasn't on the court.
No,
so I don't know what you're going to do.
Right.
So, well, a lot of that contributed to us losing that game as well and just messing up the rhythm. You got a guy that's always in the paint, that's a safety valve for them that they can always dump the ball off to, and they still was playing like he was there. And he clearly wasn't.
Clearly. But let's look at some, before we get into the preview, let's just do a quick rundown. I'm going to just mention some of the schedule that the Pelicans got coming up in the month of March, just to cover the month of March. Okay, starting Sunday, March the 11th, Sunday today, the Utah Jazz match up at 3 o'clock. Then, of course, Tuesday, March the 13th, you got Charlotte in both those games in the Smoothie King Center. Thursday, March the 15th, the Pelicans go to San Antonio. That'll be a real interesting game. Spurs going to be really pissed that we kicked their butts the last time. They're going to be ready to play that game. Then the Pelicans come back home that following Saturday, March the 17th, and they go on a 5-game homestand, starting with the Houston Rockets. Wow. Saturday. That's a primetime game. Then the following day, Sunday, March the 18th, they got a Sunday afternoon game against Boston. Wow. Then they have the Dallas Mavericks on Tuesday. night game as well. Then that same Wednesday, the next Wednesday, March the 21st, they have the Indiana Pacers. That's going to be a tough game. And then that following Thursday, March the 22nd, they have the Los Angeles Lakers come to town. Then the Pelicans, March the 24th, leave to Houston to take on the Rockets. Then Tuesday, March the 27th, they come back home for a one-game homestand against a tough Portland team, which will be in the mix for, hopefully. And then March the 30th, the final game of March, we close the month out at a road trip at King James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, wow, it's going to be an interesting month of March going into it. But if you can make it through this, DC, I promise you, if you can make it through this, and with your head held high and the majority of wins, you already ready for the playoffs, player.
Got to play Houston twice, man. Enough said.
Right. Boston, Houston twice, and then Cleveland and Portland.
And after you play Houston, we play Portland and Cleveland.
Yes.
Who made this schedule for us?
The basketball gods, my friend. The basketball gods. Yeah. But anyway, let's move into the preview.
Maybe this is a good place to drop a game when you're looking at the schedule coming up, man. Because it's going to be very hard to go on another 10-game run. So you need this win against Charlotte, Sacramento, or Houston. And, wow. Got a lot of teams in our division. We competing against.
You're going to be head up with some of these guys, but you can gain ground on some of these guys. You can knock off Portland, who's right ahead of you. Houston's right ahead of you. So it's going to be interesting to see just how, they handle it. And plus all the 5 road games back to back. Hopefully the Pelicans can get that home court loving, man, and start playing like a team that love to be home, because they're going to be there for a while coming up in March and next week. So let's look into the Utah Jazz preview. We got about 4 minutes left in our podcast. Looking at the Jazz, of course, the Jazz and the Pelicans met earlier in this season. Of course, the Jazz were able to hand them a defeat the last time the teams played. DC, you remember that score? That last time the Jazz won? No, they beat the Jazz. I'm sorry, they beat the Jazz 108-98 back on January the 3rd. Scored 29 points and 15 rebounds. Right, yeah, 29 and 15 in that game.
That was his 43-point game, I think, huh?
No, I'm looking at the stat line right now. So, yeah, but let's look at this matchup the last time they were able to beat them. Now, over the last the last 10 contests going against the Jazz, they haven't been able to beat them. 3 of 7 going against the Jazz. In the last 3 games against Utah this season, Anthony Davis averaged 21 points a game. Of course, AD is supposed to play in this game. 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and almost 2 blocks. Holiday averaged 21 points a game over those 3 games to go with 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Rondo averaged 14 points. He shot 58% from the floor, including 50% from the three-point line. He was averaged about 7 assists a game and almost 5 rebounds. Eachwan Moore got his game on against his team, averaging about 13 points a game while shooting 56% from the floor, or 66% from deep. So hopefully he gets his groove on against Utah. In one game against Utah earlier this season as a member of the Bulls, Nikola-mirotic put up 29 points against them. He shot 61% from the floor, including 60% from deep. 9 rebounds and 2 steals against that team. And in 3 games against New Orleans earlier this season, the rookie sensation, and my pick is rookie of the year, Donovan Mitchell, the outstanding phenom rookie, averaged 22 points a game against the Pelicans. Derek Favors even got his game on, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Joe Ingles had 13 points a game against this team. And in one game earlier this season, Rudy Gobert averaged 19 points, 10 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. And the Pelicans went over Utah. Back in November 22nd of 2014, Anthony Davis recorded a team career high 43 points on 69% shooting from the floor, grabbed 14 rebounds, became the first player to do such numbers at Utah since Charles Barkley did it in 1988. And then Gentry's record all time against the Jazz, not so good, 14-25 for 35%. Quinn Snyder's record is 8-5 for 61% against New Orleans. Now, DC, with all that laid out, and talking about the matchups going against this team, of course, the Utah Jazz are just out of the playoffs reach as the Pelicans still maintain their position in that fourth spot. They're definitely basically playing to stay ahead of everybody else in the race. What's your thoughts, predictions on this game? Who wins and why?
I think the Pelicans take this game coming off the game that they had. They're going to be disappointed. And based on what I've seen in the second half of the season, they usually come out in the next game and make an impact and turn some stuff around. AD's going to be back. He's going to be in rare form. We don't usually play well against Utah, so you got that right, and we've been breaking a lot of trends. And this is the team that stole our original name. I don't think that can be said enough. It was the New Orleans Jazz. Well, we actually lost the franchise. But anyway, that's our original name. So maybe a little vendetta and some karma from the basketball guys will clear that up. So I say the Pelicans take this game, getting back on their hot shooting. And then you got to realize the last time we played the Utah, they had Rodney Hood. He was tearing us apart. Right. We got that guy no more to worry about.
Nope.
So we take this game, I say 119 to Utah's 105.
All right, good call, DC. Utah winners of 5 in a row now, looking good. And, of course, the Pelicans need to win this game. I'm going to say the Pelicans win the game as well. I say it because they have to win the game because they're only a half a game ahead of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are also on who have a winning streak going. If they're on their 7-3 the last 10 games, winners of 2 in a row. Of course, Minnesota and the Spurs are on losing streaks right now. Spurs with 2 straight losses, Minnesota with 3 straight losses. And the Pelicans, hopefully they can keep gaining ground. The hottest team in the West now is the Portland Trail Blazers. We got to keep winning to catch those guys. Bottom line, we play them later on in this month. But hopefully, they lose and the Pelicans gain ground on them. But that's the end of the show for the Pelicans post-game report. We appreciate you for joining us as usual. Thank you. And also thank you if you want to help donate to keep the show going. Go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/the Media Network. From DC and myself, we'd like to say thanks. Join the social media family at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that stuff. Twitter. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, world? This is DC from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Have you ever been sitting in front of your computer screen, or in traffic, tired, lacking energy, feeling drained? Did you know there are electromagnetic fields or EMF waves all around you that cause this disease? Get it? Dis-ease? Luckily here at Posh Lifestyle, you can get your EMF protection. They have pendants, the shell-dyed bricks, cubes, and pyramids. Check out the PoshLifestyle.com. That's life spelled with a Y. PoshLifestyle.com for all your health needs. So get your mind and body right with a Posh Lifestyle.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. With a deep commitment to providing the highest quality products and excellent customer service, Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book. Providing cost-effective, reliable water filtration systems for residential, commercial, and industrial customers worldwide, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into thePoshLifestyle.com. Once again, that is thePoshLifestyle.com.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.